our badass self all the way through the campaign. Let's welcome Jayson Sime.
Thank you. All right, everyone. Stand up. We're going to do some yoga. I'm just kidding. All right. 13 years ago, this was me. 75 pounds heavier than I am today. At the time, I would say, I'm in the best shape of my life. I would tell my friends, I'm in fantastic shape. You're not in good shape. Look at me, I'm in great shape. Until I started having an irregular heartbeat. So I went to a cardiologist. And the cardiologist ran all the normal tests that they do, the stress tests, had me on the treadmill, and everything that you do to make sure that everything's okay. And as he was going through the results with me, he was sitting, and I was sitting on a table, and he looked at me, and I was telling him, I'm in great shape. I just ran a marathon. I'm in fantastic. And he looked at me, and he goes, took his hand. He reached out, grabbed my stomach, and said, you ran a marathon with this? Whoa, some doctor that I had. Meanwhile, I was getting ready to run my first congressional race. I got involved in politics because I grew up in poverty. My mom was a single mother of 6 kids. She raised us on her own. We spent a brief time homeless. We actually lived in an abandoned women's shelter. And that time inspired me to want to help other people that were struggling. My passion for wanting to help other people that were struggling ultimately ended up hurting myself. I managed the stress of the campaigns by smoking cigarettes, abusing alcohol, and taking antidepressants. Often I would wake up in the morning and go, where am I? And where the hell is my car? A few times I woke up going, hey, I can't get out of here. What's going on? Because I was in jail. After every election, I joked with my friends, I'm the modern version of Humpty Dumpty. I need a few months to put Jayson back together again. I'd be slowly putting myself step by step back together again. Before I knew it, I'd be back on the campaign trail, slowly unraveling at the seams, running on an empty tank rather than a full. Somewhere along the way, I found yoga in Las Vegas, of all places. And I discovered that the greatest tool is the self-care of you. Because when you take care of yourself, it allows you to truly be able to take care of others. In the yoga room, I don't see Republicans or Democrats. I see people practicing their own self-care by stretching their bodies. Cancer doesn't care who you voted for. Heart disease doesn't care if your candidate wins the election. Obesity doesn't care if you came from rural America or the inner cities. I've always admired the ability of leaders to use words to inspire movements or start conversations or highlight a latent issue. Campaign speeches and slogans have a way of penetrating our souls, asking us to think differently about a subject or spurring us into action. In accepting the Republican nomination, George H.W. Bush called for a kinder, gentler nation. How do we get to a kinder, gentler nation? Well, it requires change. The change we need, as Obama said in his campaign. The change I'm advocating for today will not happen on Election Day. It will happen when you decide to make it happen. It starts by asking a question that prioritizes your own self-care that we need to ask ourselves daily. Inspired by John F. Kennedy, the question is, ask not what your body can do for you, ask what you can do for your body, mind, and spirit. How we answer that question, whether it is practicing yoga, or reading romance novels like my mom, or practicing the mindful minute, will give us more energy so we can pour it back into the work we do. It will help us come up with common sense solutions that benefit all Americans regardless of political party. It will help us heal the nation and give us the freedom to truly prosper. And to paraphrase another Kennedy, each time a person stands up for the right to take care of themselves or moves their body, or fights for the self-care of others, it sends forth a tiny ripple of hope. And building each other from a million different centers of energy, those ripples build a current that can sweep down the mightiest walls of partisanship and create policies, the United Nations. I end with a story that highlights the power of this ripple effect. A month ago, I received an email from a veteran about my coaching services, a veteran who had served 7 tours in the Special Forces. He was inspired by my story of transformation. I was inspired by his story. After several emails, he wrote to me, and I quote, he said, "In reaching out to you, I think it made me realize that the shared consciousness we have as humans is something truly sacred. Today, I'm reaching out to you. It's far past the time to act. The time is now. We do have something special as humans. It starts with us being kinder, gentler to ourselves. What good is freedom if we don't have the help to benefit from it? And how can we ever expect to come up with policies that benefit the nation if when we sit down at the table to negotiate, we're running on empty? We all have the right to shine. First, we must take that initial step and ask, what can I do for my body, mind, and spirit? When we do that, we will have the next political movement made up of people, not parties. Thank you.